Welcome.
Hello.
Okay. So, how did you find Graal? And when did you start playing?
Okay. So, I found Graal, I would say around 2010. I think it was around like 10. And I found it when I was looking for, I was actually looking for Pokemon games that I could play on an iPad. There was nothing, because my DS had just broke, and it was around the Christmas events, when they had like stands and everything. Then I stumbled across Graal, I downloaded it, I kind of liked the layout, that you could talk to people. Yeah, and that's how I found Graal.
Did you experience any changes after your first year of playing?
So for changes, I would say I definitely got the grasp of Rowl more. I definitely didn't know what I was doing too much when I first started playing. I kind of would just socialize around Graal City. I started towering with just random guilds. I wasn't paying any attention to 1K hats or the towering aspect of I needed to accomplish any tower rewards by hitting 1Ks or anything. I kind of was just doing my own thing. I remember the biggest thing that I remember in 2011, because I was still pretty young, was the honor points, and I would go and try to talk to people to get honor points. Then I remember during Halloween, and they had you could submit a hat and stuff. I didn't have any money back then, so I would always be farming and stuff. I remember the player submitted hats for 100 Graalets, and it was cheap, so I would normally just wear those around. I would say around 2014, I was always playing on either my iPad or my iPod Touch at the time. So I never really got to experience the FB server that was created. I know that the FB servers have special hats you could get by playing on FB servers to help promote it and stuff. But yeah, actually, I forgot the token shop was in 2011. I really enjoyed the token shop. Definitely going down to kill all the pirates and stuff, to collect different tokens. I ended up getting the pink frog, the pink small dinosaur morphs. Then I got 1 or 2 hats. You didn't have to spend money to get cool stuff. You kind of just had to be active.
Do you own any items with crazy histories or backstories? If so, then could you share a story?
Yeah, so some crazy items I have. I would say my first 2 event hats. Then it started, now I have more event hats than anyone on Classic. But I never really was into events, and I didn't really pay attention to the staff. But randomly, when I was just walking around, an admin was hosting hide and seek with no hints, and I was walking in Bell, which is now Delta Island, and I went into the mansion shop, which is no longer there, but you could buy paintings and stuff for your house. And I walked into a warper, and I got my first event hat, which was this cool. It was a jar with this floating rose in there. And it was GIF, so it was my first GIF hat that I had. Then the admin gave me the hat, then I didn't think anything of it, and I started walking. I was walking to Snowtown to look at the hat shop, and the admin had hosted another no-hint hide and seek, and the warper was just placed right on that path, and I walked into that one, so I actually won back-to-back, and that's what got me into events. And I started joining event guilds and became the best eventer on Classic.
Are there any items that you regret not buying from the past? If so, then what were they?
Okay, I would say for an overall response to that, I regret not farming a lot more while playing, because there was what's it called? Let me look really quickly on Graal. It's what's it called? It's when you can spin things. Oh, it's an effect, and it's the snowstorm effect. where you could just stand there and like cause a snowstorm. I think that was 2011. I'm not too sure. I just remember I think it was after Christmas, and I was asking someone where they got it, and they're like, you just missed it. I would ask people, like, when's it coming back out? But with Graal, a lot of things don't come back out again, which keeps, like, the rate.
In what year did you feel as if the good times were gone and Graal was no longer the same game as you remember, and why?
It's either into 2013, start 2014, I think, is when they started, like, the queue system, where you had to, it took away the aspect of, like, going and looking for warpers. They brought it back now because there was kind of a backlash for that. But, in 2000, towards the end of 2013, they stopped hosting with warpers for a while. Definitely from, like, 2012, actually no, from around 2011 to 2013. I felt like with events and stuff, they were hosted a lot more. And admins would host around 6 to like 7 events, and it wasn't really like as monetized as it is now. You could win an admin hat, and if you won one that you already had, you could get like a replacement and stuff. Now, if you have the hat, you're not supposed to play in the event at all, and you can't get a replacement, which I feel like back then, admins were more lenient, and they just hosted more, so you were constantly, like, had things to do while just waiting around Graal. I was wanting to buy hats more often, and I felt like if I had the money in 2013, I would have spent more money on Graal than I would have, like, now. Because the hats back then, I was just more of a fan of, and they made you want to, like, go farm so you could get this hat, and I was a big fan of that.
If you could go back in time, then what would you change?
If I could go back in time, I would change, I would bring back 1K hats. I feel like recently with Classic, they've changed some of, like, the graphic styles on how they were, like, putting out new hats and stuff. And I'm more of a fan, personally, of, like, the older style. I feel like the older hats are more detailed and they just look better to me. And I actually personally like them a lot more, the older graphics. I felt like right now they're trying to get everyone to do the same exact style of stuff, and I'm more of a fan of when they were letting players submit hats, and there's just like a variety of different types of art styles coming together. And out of like my hats, I tend to wear my older hats because I just like the style better, personally. It could change depending on something, like, you never know what the hats are going to look like a year from now, but I would say right now I'm definitely wearing a lot of my hats that are from 2010 to 2013 more often. But I ended up getting my guild to 1,000 hours, actually, after a decent amount of time. It took me about 2 years with like my guild getting stolen, having to get it back, and I finally got it to 1K, but they took away 1K hats around when my guild was at like 700 hours, so I never got to give like my members who helped me throughout those 2 years their hats that I felt like they deserved. And I feel like with the seasonal hats, only 3 guilds get them. 1 guild obviously towers ahead. Then they get to pick a hat. It's not even like they took away that, like, the guild's kind of like legacy to like customize a hat just for them that represents them and who they are as like a whole guild. They kind of ruined that by saying like, here are 3 hats. Here's 3 places. Who gets first gets to pick this. It's kind of like, it's not as exciting. Kind of lacks like originality. I would definitely change that on a heartbeat. Then I would change. Well, I can't change it, but I wish the staff was kind of like the old staff. That was just more interactive with the people. I would say. Like, I felt like the old staff was kind of just, they would show themselves sometimes, like they have to be ghosts. Now it's like you rarely see admins, they don't host. It's weird that they have a lot more strict rules now, because like the player count is like decreasing pretty quickly compared to what it was. I remember logging onto Graal, and there'd be around like 3,000 players. Now I'm logging on and it's barely hitting 1,500 players. But it's like you take away 1K hats, you take away... They were promising like a new guild system and everything, and their guild system was adding 25 more people and making people pick from 3 hats. They also took away the all-time leaderboards, which I didn't really enjoy. It was cool to see like who on like the leaderboards all time. Because when you can see like an all-time leaderboard, you can see like some people want to play like Graal competitively. Like they want to work their way up the leaderboard compared to just in Graal City. Like there's different things, and someone can be offline for 6 months but still be 100K above other people and still have their spot on the all-time leaderboard. Yeah. Like it was cool. Like even though like they may be inactive, like they still outworks all the other people in the game for that spot in the leaderboard. Then taking that away.
What motivates you to keep playing Graal?
What keeps me playing is just hope for things to change. I feel like hopefully Graal Classic like realizes why people are leaving the game and not playing as much as they used to. And I've spent so much time of my life with this game. Definitely I grew up with this game. And since like I am #1 in events, I tend to try to like log on, see if I can win some events, just to maintain my spot. Because when I started playing, I was nowhere near the people who were in first with events. And now that I finally got my spot, I definitely want to keep it for a while. Yeah, just hope I'm hoping for change. If things can go back to how they were used to in some aspects, like 1K hats were brought back and stuff, it would keep a lot more people playing.
How do you view the game today? What recent changes do you like or dislike? And why?
So I would say I view the game as, I feel like Graal right now, currently, it's not at its best phase. I feel like there's definitely better phases of Graal, but I still really enjoy Graal. So I'm in the phase of just hoping things progress. Something I really do like that they've done is accessories that you could like add with hats and stuff. It makes like cool profiles. I do like that they updated the profile as well on Graal, where you can see all your stats on a separate side. I do like everything they've done with like clicking on players, profiles. I don't like the only 5 guild limit. And then I don't like being in guilds of 50 people. I find that when it's 25 people and there's multiple towers and stuff, in that aspect, I enjoy that a lot more. I feel like 50 people is just too much, in my personal opinion.
What items would you want to see in the nearby future?
Oh, I feel like a UFO or like futuristic type mount would be cool in Classic. I remember there was a cool UFO more. Went from an event a while ago, and I was like, if that was a mount, I would definitely use that to go around. It'd be cool to see more 2-player mounts. There's only a few in the game, so hopefully the graphic admins can come up with some more ideas for 2-player mounts. Thing that I guess I'll go back on the last question kind of. I really enjoy that they added the auction. It's fun to like see cool auction sets that are limited. Then you can sell some of your old hats that you don't necessarily use for a decent amount of Grawlets, and some new players who are a fan of the old graphic style but have not found Graal, who found Graal like this time, and are not able to get old style graphics, even though it's their preference, they're able to go to the auction house and try to win some.
Well, that concludes the ending of this interview. Thanks for joining, and good night.
Awesome, man.